know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, folks? Coming in from Joel's show, out of the weekend, out of the Hake Report, and into Monday, hardcore. For many, it's already the second day of the week, but it's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you. How you doing? How's your Monday so far? What's up, Nikki, Bobby, Chris, Terry, Raymond, Pete, everybody? I see some names who were with us when we landed so beautifully, so perfectly, so beautifully, and so sound in somewhere. Did we go to Minnesota? I think we went to We did. We landed in Minneapolis, St. Paul International, and it was a beautiful, beautiful landing. Not diversity, FAA, and I think Southwest Airlines were very happy. So and the passengers too. I saw you all there. Thank you for joining me on Friday. We had a nice flight. So I appreciate that. You wanna be hitting the subscribe, the likes, and all that, so you don't miss it when we go live on Fridays and the weekend and do our thing. But right now we're back, American Anchor Baby, and there are some things on my mind as per usual. There's some news. I too was interested in the Kate cancer diagnosis. If you caught the Hake Report today, I won't play the video, but I want to talk about that a little bit and cancer. Just many things to say. You know, I'm gonna keep it loosey, keep it goosey, in homage to Hake and those before him, even the Lucy's and Goosey's who came before him. We did a little hot dog. What's up, Jessica? We did a little hot dog on Friday. Very short, but we got in there. What was I saying? I don't think I was saying anything. Look, just subscribe, like, and do your thing if you want to be following the Anchor Baby and his hijinks and what he's up to. Kate has cancer. The royals, the royal family, always in the news, always getting themselves in the news somehow. Many follow them and all that. Harry, Meghan. Far cry from the Western European monarchies of the before four times, huh? Not that we have any experience, but I'm sure we heard the stories. We've heard the stories. Godlike figures. Godlike figures who don't even defecate. They don't even have those faculties. They're appointed by God, like, you know what I'm saying? The stuff they used to say about kings and queens. And maybe even some dictators today. Didn't they say that about Kim, one of the Kim Jongs? He does not go to the bathroom. Godlike figures. Did the North Korean government ever say that Kim Jong-Il, this is from Skeptics, this is skeptics.stack exchange. Did the North Korean government ever say that Kim Jong-Il never defecated? Is there any evidence for this claim? The 2011 Guardian article seems to be based very closely on an article on Matador Network, which is copied from an undated infographic, so it could be fake news. Okay, look. Maybe not North Korea, but sometime maybe in history they said that about maybe one king or queen, maybe. Kate, I'm talking about Kate. I'm talking about modern royals. Royals today. The Princess of Wales, poised and stoic in her Friday video revealing her cancer diagnosis, gave no indication of the many things she is likely to be feeling. The fears, the thoughts that keep her awake. This is an article here from Daily Mail written by Jane Green. I've seen her before too, you know, because I peruse the news, trying to find things. You know what I mean? Floundering. What do I say? No, I'm joking. Jane Green, she's an advice columnist, okay? Jane Green, answer my emails, please. You'd be a great guest. I think we even did exchange emails recently. And she said I was a delight to exchange with, but she'd rather not come on the show. So there you go, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for training me right. What a mess. I'm joking around. Jane Green, she's a advice columnist. She's talking about Kate. She's saying she's amazing. She's stoic. You may have even seen the clip on the Hake Report where Kate is telling the world, you know, we had to tell our kids and that I got cancer. And you might know I mentioned her recently, wondering why she was feeling so much stress over people not believing this or that picture that she put out. If you remember, maybe a little bit of the mess was she put out some picture. People are saying, that's AI generated. What's happened to the real Kate? Can the real Kate stand up? Did they clone her? Did they disappear her? The conspiracies came out. The conspiracies apparently hurt the royal family in the insides somehow. A royal hurt on the inside by words of peasants, of commoners, of common people. They just don't make royals like they used to. And I'm just messing around, having fun on my show a little bit. Nobody wants cancer, obviously. And it was interesting. Hake mentioned the people in the public eye who had not mentioned their struggles or whatever with cancer. One, Chadwick or Chad Boseman or something. He was the actor for the Black Panther. He had this like colon stuff, and he didn't even say anything. Norm Macdonald, he was battling cancer all the way till the end. Never told anybody, right? About cancer. Am I wrong about this? I don't want to get this wrong. Why Norm Macdonald didn't discuss his terminal cancer, nationalreview.com. The reason he kept his cancer secret. And there's something commendable about that. There's like something if poem about that. You know what I mean? That's a if man. And I guess I bring it up because, you know, even in the video, Jane Green talking about this. Oh, cancer. The things they say aren't really even that wrong. The fears and thoughts you get, having to confront those things and what that's like. So they're not even saying things that are wrong, but I guess I can't shake this whole thing of it's all kind of a cope. It feels like society, man. Like all of it is ordered as a big cope. How to not really get to the root of stuff, how to just go on a little longer, how to just go on a little longer. But what about truly overcoming, I guess, is what I'm trying to think of here. You know, they're not saying wrong things. I just wonder about these gifts you're supposed to receive after trauma. I went through so much pain and I learned so much. You hear about it too if you catch church on Sundays. Did you work on yourself? What'd you do this week? How did you work on yourself? Are you going through the pain? You hear it every Sunday. Well, are you going through the pain? You got to go through it. And I wonder about these gifts you receive out of trauma. You know, I'm not going to say I got these gifts, but I think one thing I know is you got to go through it, right? Quietly before you get the gifts. And you won't help anyone either until you go through it quietly. What helps more? Hypothetical. It's all hypothetical. Mom and dad explaining to the kids, hey, mom has cancer, but she's going to be okay. We're going to be strong. Da, 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 da. I mean, I understand it might get a little tougher to hide when hair starts falling out and stuff like that, but I wonder if people kind of give in very easily. How easily people are giving into that telling your problems thing. You might not think it fits here, but it does. Telling your problems. It's a cancer diagnosis, Nick. It kind of fits here. Okay, I'm rambling a little bit. Look, I'm talking about not helping anyone when you don't have the gifts. Okay, what I'm saying is you're getting all the emotion. They're saying, amazing, you're great, Jane. I went through it too. We're going to get through it together. You're strong, you're strong, you're strong. I'll just tell you over and over again, you're strong. And everyone listening, you're going to be strong too, right? But trauma by itself is not this amazing thing, okay? Most people don't come out stronger from trauma, I noticed. They get worse, and we're taking advice from people that get worse. It's not this vision of strength up there like people think it is what I'm trying to point out, I guess. I'm not even, like, caring too hard about Kate. She may be dealing with things in an amazing way. Look, I'm not even giving that thought. It's just not a vision of strength. I'm going to go through this, and it's tough. And look, I'm bald. And but I'm strong, and I have cancer. But let's normalize hiding. Let's normalize hiding and putting it far away. What do you need to tell the world for anyways? What do you need to tell the world for? She talks about telling the kids. Young kids, they might deal with things. It depends, I guess. I really don't know. It really depends. It's not really what you say, but how and the spirit behind it. So I remember my mom had a little cancer thing, but it happened so fast. I didn't quite understand it. I was like, oh, so you're sick? And then it must have been like a week later. She went through surgery and everything. She's like, the doctor saved me. I was like, oh, okay, well, there you go. So maybe I don't know what it's like. But it feels like a cope, okay? It feels like a big old cope. We're going to get through this. I want to talk to people. I want to hear from people who's got through it and can speak clearly. And if I'm going to hear from anyone, I guess, huh? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let me switch gears yet. It's kind of thematic. Arnold Schwarzenegger, 76. Reveals he has a pacemaker fitted last week following 3 open heart surgeries. Arnold is caring for his health a little bit here. And look, you know, he needs a little help from a pacemaker. I don't know what these things are, to be honest with you. I guess I could just Google it, but I've heard of them, right? It's a little device in your heart. Helps it beat. Maybe helps it keep its pace, maybe. Arnold is... And, you know, this is I think, a pretty significant health thing, no? It's an open heart surgery. You install the whole thing in there. I bring it up because I'm seeing the health, the cancer story and I'm being fed it's all in the algorithm, I guess. I'm being fed the health stories. I see Arnold in the hospital bed. He's getting his thing. And I'm remembering him, selfie video, filming himself. Robert De Niro style anti-Trump rants. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stretching this into a point here. It's so insightful, Nick. But think about it. How long have they been trying to figure out cancer? You got Biden saying we're going to defeat cancer once and for all. He said that, right? He said he's going to end cancer. And I wonder what was man supposed to learn? Whoa, cancer came, this plague came, and what did man learn? Nothing. What I'm getting at is I'm no doctor, but it feels like what they said about stress is a killer. Stress is a killer. That may be a little truer than we think, than the average person thinks. That might be more of a source of rot and cancer and disease than we give it credit for, okay? And I'm not saying this about Arnold, I don't know. He's 76, right? Anyways. But yeah, what was I saying? Arnold. Yeah. Oregon's doctor, here's something out of Oregon. Oregon's doctor-assisted suicides jumped 21% to 367 in 2023. I thought this was only in Canada. What's going on? So, yeah, you've heard of assisted suicide. Oh, are you a little sad? Are you experiencing homelessness? Well, let me check the chart here. Excuse me. We have a new patient. Let me check your chart here. Yeah, your chart. It says you have mental health disorders. It says you suffer from the mental health disorder and chemical imbalance known as depression. It says here you also suffer from the disease known as unhoused homelessness disease. Let me check the chart. The chart here says you qualify for assisted suicide. I'm joking, but that's a little closer to reality than most people are comfortable with. Oregon's doctor-assisted suicides up 21%, a jump by a fifth, with ever more people facing vomiting and other complications. This report here out of Daily Mail talks about some of these pretty nasty moments where these assisted suicides didn't go very well, and it was more like clinical torture. Pretty nasty stuff. But okay, percentage jump. Number of assisted suicides jump. Maybe this is a stretch. But there's a direct line from Kate's cancer diagnosis video to the jump in suicide rates. Okay, I'm joking and being a little extra. You're telling me royals have depression? They have cancer? The flawless kings and queens, perfect gods, they get sick and sad? I'm messing around. I wonder if that had a positive effect on people. If that kind of godly image of your leaders had what kind of effect that had on people. And I wonder what kind of effect feel bad society, we're going to get through this, just cry on my shoulder a little bit. I wonder how much of that what kind of effect that's having. You know what I mean? Scroll down any of these social medias. It's like every other swipe, it's some person with missing an arm and missing a chunk of his face, and their eyes are bugging out because they got some disease or something. Why is it feeding me all this crap? The algorithm. Maybe we're sick. Maybe it's just a mirror. Maybe we're the sick ones. But it gets clicks. I noticed TikTok doesn't really let you do that. It's really tough to, the things that you can, I'm sure you know a little bit about this. Censorship on the platforms. Say anything true, say anything good, you got eyes on you. YouTube, Google, etc. But TikTok seems to go way out of the way to strike certain to like strike a lot of content. I personally, I think it's because of American laws, and they're trying to crack down on TikTok. They don't want to get too much attention because they're trying to ban it and all that. But what I'm saying is, I noticed they in their terms of service, it even says disturbing content, disturbing and shocking content. I guess I'm just drawing the differences between what's shocking to TikTok and to an American company. Side note, not that important. But it's a lot of disgusting content, okay, promoted on this stuff. And I'm not even being like sexual. So at this point, I'm just getting fed like broken, you know what I'm saying? Like broken, twisted people. What's the word? Crippled people. I don't want to see that. It's pure emotion manipulation. Okay. So, Feel Bad Society, Kate, obviously, we don't want any, whatever. We wish all people well, right? Kate. What else did I want to say about this? What struck me? Because I was reading this article here of this advice columnist on Daily Mail. And you can call in, by the way, 888-775-3773. If you want to jump on there, just a little patience. But what was I thinking about? Sorry, allow me to get loosey-goosey here. Sorry, that's an ad. Jane Green. She wrote this because she went through something similar, right? How she also had a cancer scare. She's a survivor. She's a cancer survivor, Jane Green. And she describes the one little trick doctors hate. That's not what she wrote. Reveals the one daily habit she's convinced helped save her. Now, what was it about this article? If you'll allow me a moment here. Because I think what was interesting, what I wanted to point out was dang. I mean, honestly, Jane Green here describes in a kind of a very honest way all the thoughts and struggles that she went through when she was alone. The worst part of the scariest times, she writes, were in the middle of the night when the house was quiet, everyone was asleep, there was no one to distract or reassure me. I would lie in my bed, thoughts inevitably going to dark places. Anyways, hopefully you get it. All people going through the same thing. And it's almost kind of a known thing when you hear about cancer. The ones that make it out and are okay are the ones who keep fighting, for lack of a better term. You know, they don't just go quietly into the night. It's just stuff I've heard. Anyways, now I'm a little lost. And that is our sign. That is our sign to maybe keep it pushing a little bit. 888-775-3773. Renesio, man, thank you for that. For the coffee, buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby says, Norm is like what you call them inspirational hero that saw the world just like I did. Respect, Nick. He put those in. Renesio put those in his coffee. Thank you, Renesio. Norm is like what you call them inspirational heroes that saw the world just like I did. Respect. Yeah, Norm Macdonald's cool. Norm. I wrote a Norm Macdonald style joke. I got a solution for you, Nick. Stay off TikTok. But how am I going to bring all of you the great content? The content. You need the content. You need the overstimulation. You need the manja. What's up, Murden? Nice to see you in the chat. You ever get a chance to talk to Jesse? What's up, EJ? Charlie? The pyramid builder himself, Tyrone, in the chat. Okay. I wanted to show you something. Oh, it was, I'll tell you my Norm Macdonald style joke. It's about the ladies in my chat who love to say I'm good looking or something. They like to, they like the anchor baby. They're telling him to take off his shirt. They say many things about him. So this is my Norm Macdonald style joke. So, okay, it goes like this. To all the ladies in the chat who have been very persistent in telling the anchor baby how good looking he is, can I just say, thanks, Mom. All right, that's it. That one's for you. Toronto police, let's see what else did I want to do here. I got things I want to do here. Let's keep it moving. 888-775-3773. If you want to jump in. That joke had levels, Jerry. Okay? Had levels. Only the lowest and highest IQs will understand. Anyways, let's move on. Speaking of things I thought was only happening in Canada. He's an anchor baby from Canada. Things I thought were only happening in this country. I thought the assisted suicide stuff was still kind of over there. They're a little bit more European and liberal. Even the conservatives in Canada are the Democrats here. It's that's how I see it. No, it's just the truth. The conservatives in Canada are like the Democrats here. That's the best they got. And what I thought was going on over there hadn't quite gone here, at least not to, I don't know, a certain level. I thought the point is there's something going on in Canada that I thought was only going on here. What happened? I thought you had laws against this. I thought you had this figured out. Canada, we're talking about crime. We're talking about a particular flavor of crime. They're breaking into homes. They're in groups. This looks like a video out of America. I swear I seen this video on Twitter about some neighborhood in America. But no, this is Toronto. Shout out to T-Dot. We're going to T-Dot for this one. Let's make sure we don't blast anyone's eardrums here. Your host has got you. Tell us, Michelle Mackey, what's going on in Toronto with the crime that looks so American in its flavor?
Become more prominent across the GTA, up nearly 25% in 2023 from the year prior.
Taking the joke too far. Let's bump that up just a little bit. Okay, bingo, bango, bongo. Michelle Mackey, once more.
Car thefts have become more prominent across the GTA, up nearly 25% in 2023 from the year prior. Now, police in York Region are out with a new safety tactic. Door stops have been handed out to some residents in an effort to prevent door kick break-ins to steal car keys. It's a move that has one Unionville family feeling uneasy.
So it's gotten to the point.
What the? Wait. Let me see this. Let me see that again. Is that Halal Gang? Are those blacks? I mean, I think the one in the red and the black. It's just you just don't know. You just don't know. And I say Halal Gang like as if you would know what I'm even talking about. This is for my Canadians, for my people in Toronto in the chat, if you know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of immigration in Canada. Okay, lots. Okay, I don't even recognize it anymore. I went a couple years ago to visit. And they got a lot of Arab Muslims, Asians. They got a lot of stuff, okay? One subset here is the Muslims, the Arabs. They're coming from different places. They got their different flavors. You got like Afghanis, you got Pakistanis, you got. The point is they got them in enough numbers and they got enough animus, racial or otherwise. Someone told me I'm misusing that. Enough to join gangs, make gangs together. They call themselves Halal Gang. I don't know who this is, but doesn't this look like America? Trust me, it gets even more American in a moment. You know, I thought they had laws against guns.
Feeling uneasy.
So it's gotten to the point where they're actually just handing these things out to residents. That's, to me, shows that it's very high risk. I'm not sure if the whole street got it, but when I was...
If you weren't following, she's saying, I don't know if the whole street got what? They got the police were handing out door stoppers and other devices. And not only that, they were giving out advice. We'll get to that in a second on circumventing these thieves.
Talking to my parents about it, they said that they were handing it out to the houses that back up onto the park because they're more of a high-risk area.
Ali Galinsky says her family received the doorstops along with installation instructions last week, just days after police went door to door in her neighborhood handing out pamphlets on auto theft prevention.
It gives you some tips like invest in an alarm system and security cameras, install motion sensor lights, keep your...
Just fine. I know people grew up in a time where you left your front door unlocked. I was already locking doors, and I thought, that's so weird. Why would you leave your front door unlocked? That's not security-minded. So, I mean, when the police starts going around and say, hey, what's wrong with you guys? Lock your doors. Get motion cameras. They're also, like, right. It's crazy that society's going this way, but you got to protect yourself. But it's the following advice that gets even crazier.
Keep your windows and doors locked, trim trees and shrubbery so there are clear views from the street, and don't post vacation plans or luxury purchases on social media.
The move is part of York Regional Police's ongoing efforts to slow skyrocketing car thefts in the region.
And I want to skip ahead a little bit. Skyrocketing car. Let's just let it play. This is what I get for trying to skip. Come on, Elon Musk. Elon Musk doesn't like it when I try and scrub through a video. But I was trying to get to the part where they're talking about the guns.
Prominent across safety and education.
Community Services was involved and created pamphlets and Faraday bags. As you've
pamphlets!
Seen. Those have been dispersed through our community partners.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto Police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door because they're breaking into your home too.
Not your fresh off the boats. I know you're thinking Canada, wow, very progressive. They have now legalized the owning of, they don't call them slaves. They don't call them slaves. Don't say that word. They legalized FOBs, legalized ownership. They are proto-Canadians, soon to be Canadians. You can house them in your house and they work for you. They're not talking about that. I know that's what you thought. They're talking about in a little electronic thing to get into your car.
To steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns. They're real guns. They're loaded.
They're not toy guns. What happened, Canada? I thought you had big, bad... It's probably America's fault, right? It's probably America's fault. If only America banned guns, then they wouldn't have this problem. Because Canada... You got to get a license. It's so restricted. Don't even think about it in Ontario. I mean, maybe like a big long rifle that's clunky to load. Maybe like a black powder rifle. I don't know. Good luck. But handgun, a pistol. Where's your restricted firearms license, citizen? Yeah. So obviously this is a easy pickings, easy dunk on Canada. What happened? What happened to your laws? Oh, gun laws. But it's still a good point, don't you think? Come on. They'll say Canada is an example in that it's kind of like federal, right? It's the whole country. But you can't stop someone sufficiently motivated to cause harm, right? You had a nation warned by the greatest intelligence agency in the world that they were about to have a terror attack, and it still went down. Now there's reports that I'm talking about the terror attack in Russia. And to be fair, Medvedev, what's that guy's name? Dmitry Medvedev, previous president of Russia, and someone else made these public statements saying that America did not share their information as to any intelligence they had corroborating these claims of impending terror attack they're saying Russia. They didn't even tell us. According to them, I don't know. But that's what went down. Many died. I kind of mentioned it on Friday. War and terror. Toronto's so ghetto. Have you been? Have you ever been? Toronto's pretty clean, actually. I wonder lately, it's probably maybe taking a turn, but when it comes to cities, when it comes to like city, it's kind of a younger city. Give it some time. Because Toronto, the streetcars, the subways, they're still, at least last I remember, which maybe was a couple years ago at this point, I thought about even less like 4 years ago when I went again, the subways, the streetcars are all pretty nice. The subway's scuzzier, but relatively clean and nice and it's fine. And I think it's just because it's younger. I remember I didn't even see tents. That's not something I saw until I went to visit Toronto a couple years ago. So it's probably getting worse. War and terror. What did I want to say about war and terror? Big things are, I guess what's interested me about war and terror, besides the thrill, besides the sick thrill, you sick people, you love talking about this, don't you? You definitely want to hear a war update. It just keeps going. They're going to the last Ukrainian, it seems. They got to keep it going. They're saying, big moves in the game. Russia cannot allow the existence on its borders of a state that has a documented intention to use any methods to take Crimea away from it, not to mention the territory of new regions. This is from Peskov. What's his name? Dmitry Peskov. He is the press secretary. He's Putin's press secretary. Dmitry Peskov. With a quote that's got people... it's got the news going, right? This is like, strong language, as they say. I'm sure proxy wars and Russians and Ukrainians dead. I'm sure that's plenty strong language, but I bring this up to, I guess, kind of show the train just keeps going. Is there anybody stopping the train? It's a runaway train. Is there anybody? Anybody at all? Is there anyone saying, hey, at this point you got to start throwing rocks and stuff in the train here. Derail it. Russia cannot allow the existence on its borders. A state that has... This is not we're just going to take the Donbass language. Are you following me here? 888-775-3773 if you want to call in. Few hours later after this, I'm getting this from antiwar.com. Confirmed by a serious European source, regular troops from France, Germany, and Poland have arrived by rail and air to 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, south of Kiev. It's a substantial force. No numbers have been leaked. They're being housed in schools, and for all practical purposes, it looks like a NATO force. Don't, right? Scary stuff. I'm not worried. I'm just going to be a cook for World War III. You guys know I'm just playing, right? There's no one who should be really afraid in my chat right now. But I'll just be a cook. They'll just put me I'll just be serving the troops. I got experience. Exhibit 3, Friday evening, terror attack on Crocus City, a music venue now northwest of Moscow. Heavily trained commandos shoot people on sight, point blank, in cold blood, sets the concert hall on fire. You might not see it as an act of war, right? But it's kind of interesting to see this all happen kind of... The time frame is all I'm mentioning, that I'm remarking on here. The time frame, you got to wonder how these things all come to play about terror, times of war. You wonder about coincidences and all that. And personally, I'm waiting for history to play out, I guess, and confirmations and all that. But if it were to come out or anything that war and all this is closely related to terror, and it's really not far-fetched. Think about it. Stability is all that comes to mind here and all that matters. Should you lose it, things like terror happen. It breeds it. What I'm saying, though, what I was just saying, though, is it should have come out that these things are closely related. I wonder, it would speak to a larger understanding of terror and all this, right? And how we've seen it play out in history, I guess. The war on terror and all that. So anyways, that's going on over there. Big old terrorist attack. I don't know about significance here besides stability of the world. I don't think that's there. I don't think they are these unrelated things. You know, omens, if you will. But anyways, I don't want to be all dark and like scary. Ooh, get scared. So scary. But yeah, ISIS, what did I want to say about this? War and terror. It's what's going on, huh? War in Toronto, war in the world. The world is an angry place. Lin Yan Chin, man, thank you for that. Hold up, I got some super chats. Lin Yan Chin coming in strong. Thank you. Says, parkour, Christ came to teach it to us. Only through the parkour can one stride upon water and count midichlorians while prancing on rooftops. A little bit of Lin Yan Chin prose, Lin Yan Chin parables. Thank you for the super chat, sir. You think it was parkour and midichlorians that allowed Jesus to walk upon the water as he once did? Is that what you're saying, Lin Yan Chin? It was a combination of the force and acrobatics? Interesting stuff. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Very nice. Let's see. What's up, DJT 2020, Mildew Grew? Supporters on D Live, supporters on Rumble. I appreciate it. 888-775-3773. But that's war for you. What else do we got to say about war? Terrorist attacks and all that. It's the way she goes. Yeah. I think we can move on. The footage doesn't add up. What do you mean, Point Fire? Nice to see you. Right on. Parkour. Where are my parkourers at? Toronto sucks, says Zenny. Nick, check out Canadian homeowner fights off 2 burglars. Man, this squatting stuff is next level. That video of that guy. En United States, papi. Hacemos la vuelta, papi. Do the hookup. I'm talking about that video going around. That's some Venezuelan guy yelling about squatters' rights. How him and his African friends, and there's people who have already expropriated 7 houses from, allegedly from these homeowners. In what world? I mean, we kind of figured out why the other day. If you remember, we kind of I think we live figured that one out. Live on the show. It was the feel bad society. It's the feel bad society. When you feel bad, you make those people heroes, the people you feel bad for. And all too often, the people you feel bad for are the people who least deserve it. They got problems. They're probably in their situation for a good reason. You go help out the deranged homeless person, and he turns around and kills you, right? Kind of thing. Obviously, dramatic poetry to kind of illustrate a point here. But too often, you feel bad for those people. You can't help but make them into heroes. You feel bad for someone, you make them into a hero. And then the only way to undo them being a hero is to then make him into a villain, make them into an enemy. You got to bring them down now. That's your only way out. Not your only way out. But that's all too often what happens. Okay. Amazing. Falling in love. I think maybe we could switch gears a little bit. Who wants to get married? Marriage, falling in love. Do I want to move too quick here? Wait, hold on. I got something in my notes here about Chuck Schumer. And this is such a loosey-goosey show that I don't even remember why I wrote this down. Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer seems to be changing his tune, I think, about, oh yeah. There's all this talk about ceasefires and all this. Gaza, Israel. And now they're saying, you know what, Israel, you got to chill. You got to chill. Even Chuck Schumer saying that. Calm down. You got to... Israel must make some significant course corrections, he writes. He says. His speech. Excerpt from his speech recently. After being pretty much... he was opposing the ceasefire from the beginning. And now he's saying, hey, Israel, you got to chill. And I'm looking at all this, and I don't know much about these things, but I wonder about this. Maybe I'm an ignorant person. But they say, oh, the Jews control everything. Tell me where I'm wrong. Isn't this proof that there's a fight here? There's nothing set in stone. If the speculation is correct here, then Schumer is recalibrating his stances on all this to deal with the ever increasingly radical left of the Democratic side. And so in a bid to cater and kind of deal with that, Schumer, who's basically been all about what's going on over there, telling him to pump the brakes now. These are the speculations. These are what some are writing about. These are the things I'm reading about. Makes a little sense. But I guess I'm in a layman, ignorant point. Maybe I don't quite understand. It seems to me like, isn't this proof there's a fight going on? Anyways, I'm going to leave these notes for another day. Maybe I got to flesh this out and make that into an actual show before I talk about things I know nothing about. 888-775-3773. I want to show you a video, I think. I think that's how I want to kick this off. Because people are falling in love. Even the most red-pilled, so red-pilled, never get married, sex with thousands of women. All women are the same. They're just hypergamous sluts. And they're evil, and they're all these many things. That last one's true, though, about evil. But give me a chance here. Give me a chance. I'm setting up a video, and this man here is talking about the 3-year-old finding love. He's changing his ways. He's settling down. They say this about men who, especially if they're wild and free, when they find a woman to get married, they settle down. They're coming down. They're settling down. And my apologies, I saved this clip from a couple days ago, and this might be vulgar. Hold on, let me skim through this. Apologies if there's swear words that are unbleeped. I know the sun is out. The sun is out, and they're out. People they're working. It's lunchtime. So apologies if there's swearing. But we got Dan. I believe his name is Dan. His name is Dan, and pretty sure he's known as one of these red pill dating guys. And this video was posted after having sex with thousands of women. Dan learns the truth. It's better to be with a woman who truly cares about you. Dan, who has, I've gathered is one of these, like I said already, if you're not following, red pill guys, okay? Dating, you've seen them before. I've talked about them before. And I guess maybe I'm lumping them all in some broad stroke here, but it helps in communication. Okay, let's watch the video. Let's watch the video. Dan, let's reload the video. Dan here,
3 girls,
boom, is talking about his life. Let's watch.
having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. I mean, if I only had sex with 2 girls in a day, that was like, we're having some real off day or something, right?
Yeah.
And some days 4, sometimes 5, 7. The most was 9.
How many women have you slept with in your life total?
Thousands. I had this image in my mind when I was growing up of like how awesome this would be. I don't know, what I kind of landed on was I think it's like better to have a monogamous relationship, as strange as that is coming from me. You got 2 choices. You can just like do whatever you want and, be free and like allow the women to be free and just use condoms with all the girls and not care about if they hook up with other guys and it's just like purely sexual and whatever. Or I think you can find a girl that you enjoy spending time with and that you actually trust each other. But I think it's unlikely to find a woman that is going to be okay with you sleeping with other women that actually cares about you for the right reasons. Even if the girl is okay with it, I think that you like cause internal damage to her. I do think that like...
Sorry, it's just a lot being said. I might as well pause it a little bit here. But I'm sure some of these topics or themes are things that you may have heard me talk about, or you've heard people in this space, in this online space talk about, right? You've heard these high-value males. You got to be a high-value male. I ain't no high-value male. You got to be this high-value male, and you got all these women. And and women would accept that in a high-value man. If they want a high-value male, and they know that part of having a high-value man is that he's going to have multiple partners, okay? Look, he's just got so much value. He's got so much love to spread around, and he can't confine it to just one woman. He's got so much resources and money. He's a high-value male. He's got money, resources. He's got to be the warlord. He's got to be the modern warlord, hoarding the resources, hoarding the women, and impregnating them and creating an empire, right? Actually, they skipped that last part. They completely ignore that last part. They're not even doing that. They're just getting their willies. They're getting their wiggles out. And they're having their sex. And I see this a lot in this kind of world. That's really, they say it's improvement. It's improving your life. It's how to be a man. And there are a lot of ways to practically improve your life, even like right now. But it's the claims of manhood and all that get lost, right? They claim it's a lot more than just that. Getting your taxes together, I'm sure helps. But these people, this content is geared to men and how to really save them, how to really bring them out of whatever they're in and make them into men. And how to truly understand women, okay? So that's how this stuff is built. So you got Dan here. They say the high-value males, they get all it's normal for them having all these women. The women got to accept it if they're going to be with a high-value male. I'm no high-value male. I'm a low-down, I'm a no-good, rotten male. That's something someone once said. Okay. But where was I? What did I want to say about this? We got Dan. He's saying, you know what, actually, with all my experience, I realize you're not really going to find someone who cares about you if you do it this way. Okay? So you really got to make a choice. You got to make a choice. This isn't high value, writes Everything is Fake in my chat. That's like a pauper who ended up with a lot of money, so they go crazy. 100%. Everything is fake. That's so... I bet you even, we're talking about earlier about royalty and the monarchies of the before 4 times. And I bet you when the public saw a prince going around partying and drinking, they were like, I'm sure I'm describing almost a fantasy here, but I hope you understand what I'm describing, because obviously these are stories in our heads, medieval times. What the heck were they really like? But I'm sure when they saw some prince going around, like when we see a celebrity or whatever go around today, acting a fool, that's what people said. This person's acting a fool. So when we see these men out of control like this, we should think of it in the same vein, no? It should be clear. Okay, where were we? Dan, I think I should let it play. Maybe the truth is here somewhere. What I was trying to get at.
But I think it's unlikely to find a woman that is going to be okay with you sleeping with other women that actually cares about you for the right reasons. Even if the girl is okay with it, I think that you cause internal damage to her. I do think that one cool girl that does stuff with you that you actually have a mental connection with, I think the sex is better. I think you're more relaxed. I think you have less things to deal with, less distractions. Your energy's not being pulled in a bunch of different directions. So I think there is hope to a longer term monogamy and staying attracted to the woman.
Oh man. I think they said that in the Bible, Dan. Someone should have told them about if you burn, get married. I mean, you'll just be better off. But that's also a funny way of how people even see marriage and relationships, huh? It's a sex thing and a closeness thing and feelings thing. Dan here is kind of revealing to the world that, you know what? The sex isn't enough for me. I need the hugs. I need the cuddles. I need the inside jokes. I need the, and I say this with a sort of a awareness, if you will. But that's what people see relationships as. Those things are the relationship. So anyways, what do we got to say about Dan here? Dan's talking about sex a little bit. And I wonder if he's ready to deal with, let's say he's like, I'm going to go monogamous, guys. The sex is better. It feels better. You're just more close and connected. She gets me. We have inside jokes. I have a shoulder to cry on. He didn't say that. But I have someone who's an emotional backbone, an emotional rock. He didn't say all that. But let's say you go that way and you're like, okay, this is what I need. Is Dan ready? Is Dan ready to deal with a sexless marriage? Dan, what if that ends? What if you don't get that way? What if you don't get all the hugs and cuddles and sex anymore? What happens there? They say these things happen. They say sexless marriages come about. What do you do then? I've heard all sorts of diagnoses and prescriptions on sexless marriages. They come from Christians, they come from the world, and they've always been kind of a little interesting. Oh, I've heard it all. I don't know. I've heard it. Christian women, you are to serve your husband. And so you must, I've heard it all, okay? I've heard many things. Here's one more for you, huh? Here's one more for you. This is coming from an expert. We got she's like a relationship coach or a sexual therapist or something like that. She's gone somewhat viral here talking about this very topic. The biggest reason women stop having sex with their husbands. And we got the expert on this. You might find this interesting. You might find this interesting. Let's watch.
This is the biggest reason that women stop having sex with their husbands.
Let me turn that up just a little bit. This is the biggest reason why women stop having sex with their husbands. Okay. Darn. I done did it again. This is the jankiest episode. Come on, guys. So much nicer when I have the clips saved away. I gotta keep that up. This is not tech stuff. This is the Anchor Baby.
Biggest reason
You can't fix that. Okay.
women stop having sex with their husbands and I know what's coming in the comment section, and I don't care. Because I have to spit the truth.
Okay, spit it.
And yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I know, Stuart, you're going to comment and say, well, maybe it's this, this, and this, and you're going to get kind of mad about what I have to say, but here's the deal. I have a doctorate in social psychology. I've spent my entire adult life studying romantic relationships, the science of romantic relationships, both studying the science as well as publishing in the science.
Oh.
And so I am very well versed in this topic, not to mention that I've seen thousands of clients and heard from thousands of women about why they won't have sex with their husbands. So, you know, Joe, if you know better, for sure put it in the comments, but I think I have some credibility.
Okay, we got you.
And if this is a problem in your relationship, you might want to humble yourself and take a seat and hear what I have to say. The primary reason why women stop having sex with their husbands is because they don't feel emotionally safe. And the reason that they don't feel emotionally safe is because their attachment needs are not being met inside of their relationship. Attachment needs are our deepest needs inside of a romantic relationship. And if those things are not fulfilled, we will not feel emotionally safe.
Attachment needs. Didn't I hear this recently? Are those things they were saying on one of the shows recently? Something about it was like something about some people and some couples, the woman appreciates touch, another one appreciates words, another type of relationship. This person might need like support, like words of support. You know what I'm saying? They say that these people love languages. That's what it was. Something about that. Something about love languages and all that. Space Cadet in the chat. Let me point this out. Space Cadet in the chat says she is correct. I see a lot of you already going hard on her. Look at this expert, PhD. Psh, what the heck does she know? Hold up, fellas. Slow down. You might be well, slow down for a second. Space Cadet might be onto something here. So she's talking about Bill's looking at me like, what the heck is she talking about? She's describing to people why women stop having sex with their husbands, okay? She said the number one reason, Bill, is that men stop catering to them emotionally. She didn't say it like that, but she said that they, what was this phrase she used?
The primary reason why women stop having sex with their husbands is because they don't feel emotionally safe.
They don't feel
and
emotionally
the reason
safe.
That they don't feel emotionally safe is because their attachment needs.
Bill's like, yep, she's absolutely correct. I think she is. That's not what Bill said.
Are not being met inside of their relationship. Attachment needs are our deepest needs inside of a romantic relationship. And if those things are not fulfilled, we will not feel emotionally safe.
Attachment needs are the most important things in a romantic relationship. Where's she wrong, folks? A romantic relationship, right? The romance. For those who are in a sexless marriage, she's giving you the keys on how to get it back. You got to start licking boots. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. She's completely correct. You got to start licking boots. You got to start catering a little bit here, okay? Hold on. Let's let this play a little bit. Let's see if I remember what I wanted to say.
And especially for women, when there is a lack of emotional safety, they start feeling very unsafe giving their bodies to their partner, and they start to feel extremely unattracted to their partner. Like they simply can't get physically turned on by their partners anymore. So if you're not familiar with my content, you might be asking, how do I know what their attachment needs are? Well, there's a lot of information about attachment out there. You could dig through my videos and you could probably very easily figure out the attachment style of your partner. Attachment science has been around since 1958. It's been studied empirically in thousands of empirical studies.
Attachment science? Yeah, well, we can't put too much importance on that because she's talking about 1958 studies. Look, America has been going down. Things were bad even then, okay? Don't tell me like 1958, it was all hunky-dory. We had the feminists. We had all that crap going on, and they were chipping away at everything that is good and right in America, okay? So let this play out a bit.
Go to PubMed. The studies are out there, okay? Or you can work with me, and I'm happy to assess the attachment of your...
So much vinegar. So much vinegar. Like, I know that you're the expert on men and you want to talk about men and what's going on here and men, what you got to do better. But I'm sure this needs to be said, I guess. But yeah, how about women reform? So much vinegar, ladies. All this vinegar.
Your partner. And here's what
seeping out of you, ladies. I mean, it's not just this woman here.
You need to know. The different attachment styles have very, very different needs. So knowing the attachment style of your partner is really the keys to the kingdom and getting all your needs met inside of the relationship as well. So the anxious preoccupied, their biggest need is love, affection, and reassurance. So they need lots of reassurance every single day that you love them, that the relationship is stable, and that you are, in fact, appreciative of them. And they really have all the love languages. They just want love.
Oh, she even says love language. This is such hate. This is pure hate languages. This is all hate, top to bottom. I guess I'll just say, because it's more, it's indulging. It's indulgence. If you had a child and you saw them, just gorging away at candy and just loving it, just happy, big old smile on their face. It tastes amazing. They feel amazing. What would you think, though? You would look at that scene. What would you say? You'd think maybe some part of you, maybe your taught morality or something tells you, I should tell that person, I should tell this kid, all this indulgence is gonna be a problem in the long run. All this indulgence will bring problems in the long run, okay? And the same indulgence happens in relationships. All this indulgence of, I got to tell her the right thing so that she can know and feel like our relationship is stable. As you indulge those things, you make the chasm deeper. You fill it up with your false love. You fill up the hole. But as you fill it up, you erode it deeper and you make the hole deeper. So next time you need to pour in more to fill it up again. That's what we're doing that's what we're doing in our individual lives personally, in these little moments daily when you can't say no, when you don't hold out a little longer and endure against the temptation to be angry, to cope, to escape away into that food, vice, whatever it is. Those little things that we do daily, we're opening that chasm. And next time we need more. We need to pour in more to fill the hole. We're doing that in relationships. We're doing that in little moments every day, constantly, all day, every day. And I can't tell you, I really can't advise you on this. I wouldn't want to. I can't advise you on sexless marriage. I really don't know. I really don't know what to say. I wouldn't want to tell you what to do or say. I'll try and keep it very simple on the things that I have seen here. I wouldn't want to advise you on this. Personally, if you ask me, we have all these little moralities about these kinds of things, but really they do have a natural course. I'm not saying don't get married or have sex out of wedlock. That's not what I'm saying. But if you notice, when you get into a relationship, if they all follow these natural progressions and they're all kind of the same. I know maybe people, ladies out there, men and ladies out there thinking, what do you mean? I'm the same as every other girl? There's a wisdom to that statement. There's a cycle that plays out in every relationship. And some of this is natural and shouldn't be judged or be something you freak out on. One of those natural things is sex. Right? It's supposed to happen in a marriage and all that. It creates babies. But even the whole, oh my God, my wife is so sexy. Even that has its natural progression. For example, you get old. You get old. So I wouldn't want to advise people or anything on this, but I'll say this. Can we leave some space in our thinking when we're thinking and pondering and dreaming? Be careful with these things about marriage and relationships and all these things. Can we leave somewhere in our thoughts and somewhere in our pondering and somewhere in there, can we leave some space open to, you know what, maybe I won't have sex the rest of my life. Maybe one day I just don't do that. Maybe I don't have sex one day with my wife. Maybe one day we get old and maybe not even that old and I mature and I just don't need that stuff. What I'm trying to say is it feels like that's not even in people's thinking at all, and might lend itself to problems. Imagine if you were a man who imagine if you were just a different kind of man who just had a different kind of mentality. This would never control you in a million years. A woman, imagine your wife hearing this woman. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not getting my attachment needs fulfilled. Imagine your wife hearing this crazy woman and going like, yeah, right. I don't know what to do. Look, I wouldn't advise you. You got to be in your situation. You got to know for yourself. But can we have that in our mentality here? You know what? One day I won't need this. One day I want to be the type of man who doesn't need this one day. And we're going to be old one day and we're just going to leave that as a chapter, an era that passed. Sex. What am I saying here? What are you guys thinking? No, Nick, that's awful. Are you talking about sex, Terry? You want to be 80 years old? You want to be 80 years old? Like, okay, let's move on. Nick doesn't find old people sexy. Wow. Nick just gave me permission to have sex out of wedlock. No, that not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that there's a natural progression to these things. You're like, it's like relationships. You know, when they start off and you're like, the butterflies, it's new, it's fresh. You got the inside jokes and all the feelings. There's like a progression to that, and then that goes away. The same thing with sex, and like there seems to be a beginning and middle end to so many things in life, stages and chapters. And I bet you if we left that open, that possibility open, I don't know, we might have to stop having sex in wedlock. Nick gonna have to sell shirts that say "Stop having sex in wedlock." Eventually, right? I mean, I say this because I don't know. Anyways, you guys got me. How many more times do I have to say why I'm saying something? Sexless marriage. She's basically saying you're not catering. Can we be real on this? Could you guys all see between the lines here? That's what that woman was saying, right? She was saying you got to cater and lie. Because wouldn't you be doing those things if you really wanted to anyways? Babe, I don't know, whatever the heck she's talking about. Wouldn't you be doing those things naturally? Whatever it is. Let's say you want it to be nice, or you want it to be gentle, or you wanted to give a gift, or whatever it is. Isn't the implication that it came from here, from within, and not out of an external factor? I want more sex. All right, babe. Let me affirm your attachment needs. You know what I'm saying? It's more important to some than others. Most marriages, it's an integral part. You need to play the cards you were dealt with. You know, I bet you everything is fake. I don't know. I bet you it's more on the man's side, though. It really is up to the guy. I'd hear Jesse say things like, women don't really like sex as much as men. And there's something about that statement that rings so true, like a lot of things he says. But on that one's particular, I've always left a little space, I'll wait till I see it kind of thing. But I think it's true. Women really would be okay with a hug. As long as they're still getting what they're getting. Anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Falling in love. We saw the experts say what she had to say. We saw the red pill guy realizing, you know what? I think I want what everybody else has. I want the inside jokes. I want the cuddles. And so we had the segment there. I say we move on. 888-775-3773. If you want to jump on the air there. What's chat saying? No, I believe they do, Charlie. Chutch. But for different reasons. It takes two to tango. You knew what it was before. Don't pull the rug. Oh, everything is fake. I didn't mention what you were saying earlier, which was an interesting comment. About women. I see women in my own chat saying this, though. They feel a sort of duty. It's your duty to every now and then serve your husband. But what about when he says something you don't like? What about when he says, hey, yeah, we don't need all that. We don't need all the things you want to buy. No, the kids don't need to be in that school. No, the kids don't need to be in that. Let me catch up with chat a little bit. 888-775-3773. I do see your calls coming in. Thank you. Going to get right to the calls here. Yeah, what do y'all think about that? Duty. Is it your duty? Is it your duty to have sex with your husband? Garrett, New Hampshire. How you doing? You're on the air.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Appreciate that. Doing fine.
Excellent. Amazing flight Friday. Amazing flight.
Thank you for that.
So I heard some metachlorian talk earlier, and I wanted to call in right after that was read, but I was driving.
Now help me understand lore here. Lore. I need a little lore injection here. Midichlorians. I know they have to do with the Force. I know it's Star Wars. Help me out here.
Yeah, they got inserted in the prequel series when Qui-Gon was asking Anakin for a blood sample, and then they kind of said that since he has more midichlorians, he has more attunement with the Force. So it's a lot of people.
So midichlorians is a biological thing.
Yeah, kind of.
It's something that lives in your body that lets you use the Force.
Yeah, the Force is a living thing. So the more midichlorians, the more you kind of have control over it.
Is the Force kind of like the Holy Spirit or something like that?
They made it similar. It's kind of like a parable, almost like a coffee.
Huh. Fascinating. Well, you were saying midichlorians got you calling in and other things? Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to call in during the flight, but it was a little bit too late. But one of the quotes from Star Wars is, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. You were talking about, I think it was with Frederick, about how can the Jews not, how they don't have hate or they don't have anger, so like even how can they be oppressed and something along that lines.
If I may maybe remind the chat a little bit here on that call. Frederick called me, and we were talking about anger in general and things, and I'm almost forgetting what it was. But yeah, let me remember. I was saying something about, he asked me about giving him an example about what the anger in Jews looks like, and it's them living in the past and worried about a Holocaust and thinking that anti-Semitism is real and that's worse than something else, than other types of evil. And he was saying
at one point
that no, how can people in control, because he believes the Jews are in control, how can they be angry? They're winning, essentially.
Yeah, and at one point you were saying that some people just don't realize that fear and anger are linked. I think the only thing that I was like, when I was hearing that, I think the only thing that I was could think of is the hate part, because that wasn't a word that was brought up, but some people associate hate without the identity of anger, but all three of them are linked together for any of those that can see that. So I think that would have been a good talking point of saying, well, you might not think that they're angry in the way that we communicate, but the hate is there, and they have that fear of the next Holocaust or anything else like that. So some people who don't understand the relationship between fear, anger, and hate might get a little lost on that. But I think bringing hate into that as a talking point to those that might not understand would be great, because you don't necessarily have to be angry to be hateful. Some people think, well, I hate this, I hate that, and it doesn't get a rise out of them. But since they're all linked together, I think that would have been a good talking point of like, yeah, so even though you think the Jews are in control and you're saying that they're not angry, how can they be angry? Well, if they're being hateful, it's all connected.
Thank you for that, Garrett. I don't want this to be missed. I really do appreciate you bringing this up. This is such a good point, and it shouldn't be missed. You got to see it, folks. You got to see the connection, because then you can see it in yourselves. Because I recently even realized something, but I'll get to that. Fear, anger, hate, it's all the same thing. They come from the same place. So when I'm talking with Frederick and he's not seeing that's the part he's missing, what you're describing, that they're all connected. A fear, that's why you can say that about white people, for example. Oh, it's clear blacks are angry, but what do you mean white people are angry? Of course they have anger. They have fear. They have total fear in they'd rather let the country lose their whole country than tell the blacks the truth. And that comes from anger. I appreciate what you're saying, man.
Excellent.
I don't want this point to be missed. It's all the same thing. It's all the exact same thing. Right on, sir.
I'm glad I could call in.
Yeah, thank you, man. Can you think of an example of how, and if you can't, I understand when you ask someone, you blank, but can you think of an example of like how fear and anger are the same in an example here? I'm trying to think of one.
Fear and anger.
You know what I mean? How someone can miss it, how someone can be fearful, but you can miss it, and it's actually hate. It's actually anger. An example of what you're talking about.
I can think of when my dad used to chastise me. I was always, worried about what he was going to say. If I ever, messed up, I screwed up, I did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's one time where me and my brothers, we were partying at a beach. We got picked up by the cops. Nobody got arrested, but we had to sit in the jail and have our parents come pick us up. And I was so worried about what my dad was going to say. And I had a bunch of memories about, him hollering or anything else like that, or like the things that he would get on me about. So I was fearful that I was going to get a talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't realize that until recently, I didn't realize that in that moment, it was that I hated that. I hated that he would get on us, holler at us, get angry with us, take things away. So I was fearful that I was going to lose something, because, when you're a kid, you do something, you get grounded, you get something taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fearful that I was going to get things taken away, that I was going to lose privileges, lose things like that. And I didn't think about it as hate until recently, and then I revisited that memory. And really, it just came down to I was angry. I was angry that he would do that he would get upset, that he would do these things. And that's probably what ended up building my resentment for him was, oh, you're taking away, you're taking away, you're taking away. Now that I'm older, I can understand it. And after I talked with him, I definitely understand it. But I was afraid. But I was afraid of losing something for myself, being selfish.
Fascinating, man. Thank you for sharing that big time. That is exactly what I meant. That is exactly what I meant. That is a great example of that. Thank you for that. Right on, sir. Anything else you want to talk about here before we move the wheels? This is some food for thought here for the folks.
No, I'm pretty much all set. May the force be with you.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Call me again.
Bye.
We got a little force action. You got the Holy Spirit. You got enough midichlorians, so that you can be in tune with the Holy Spirit. Please, God, I want more midichlorians. I'm just joking, God. Don't give me anything I asked for. Just do what you got to do, okay? That was a joke. Yeah. Fascinating. Garrett there. Fear, anger, it's all the same. Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. 888-775-3773. Lin Yan Chin with the super chat here. Thank you. Let me read it right away. Lin Yan Chin, thank you, says, not control, but attunement to the force. Okay, so he's maybe explaining midichlorians here a little bit here. Not control, but attunement to the force. Control is still a reflection of calmness levels. Midichlorians do not grant power, just per person of potential power. Mastery of perception grants that power. I'll let y'all figure that one out. It made sense to me, I think. Lin Yan Chen, thank you for that. It's not about attunement. It's not about controlling. See, only dark people with no attunement at all would want to control something like the Force. So nice. Thank you for that. Matthew with the super chat writes, this is why prostitutes should be legal and women voting illegal. Women are too exhausting. I can't coddle you every day. What do you mean, Matthew? What do you mean by why should it be illegal? I missed it. But I appreciate the super chat. You know, I see these videos of these Japanese women. You seen these videos? They go viral. But these women in Japan, man on the street, they're asked, if you found out your man was paying a prostitute, how would you feel? They're like, oh, I wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't be that bad. I know that went viral for a bit. I don't know what you mean, Matthew. Thank you for your super chat, though. Incredible. Yes, 888-775-3773. What do we got? We got one more thing, I think. We do. I believe we have one more thing here for the last bit of the show. Speaking of, I mean, this really is a Female Monday. Speaking of the ladies, speaking about many things here. There are some women, there are some ladies online who have, you know, they've gotten a lot of attention and followers and all that for being conservative, maybe right-leaning, etc. And, you know, they're even lauded as positive influences in the conservative world and movement. They're positively affecting the world by bringing light to various situations like the trans mess in the schools and in the bathrooms and other things, you know. Libs of TikTok is one that you might know. It's a account on Twitter that went all sorts of viral for calling out all these groomers in the schools and all that. And so she's a firebrand conservative online. You know, I don't know. She might be just kind of central, right-leaning, probably, most likely. She goes by, her name is Kaya, I think, Kaya 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. And no, it's not Kaya out of North Carolina. But she runs Libs of TikTok, okay? You've probably seen her mentioned at least. Kaya 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑. She's just one name here. You know, there's a number of them that have gone viral in the Trump years and otherwise. Another account here is Truny Tunes. Truny Tunes. A play on like it's supposed to be I think it's supposed to be an offensive term for transgender people. We don't want to be offensive here, right? Truny Tunes on Twitter here is going viral for bringing up some you know, going on. You know, there's an online Twitter spat going on right now about voting. It's about women voting, should they vote, and all that. This Truny Tunes account, who is like a popular right-wing conservative, right, they get shared a lot, is joining the fray here, joining the conversation centered around this, the 19th Amendment and voting. Truny Tunes has changed their name on Twitter now, and it now says, vote all women. Vote all women. I forget what their name was before, but it seems to be in response to what's going on here online. And what's going on is, I think it may have been, it seems like it may have been a couple of different men online on Twitter who are saying women shouldn't vote. And so so vote all women and others are getting in on this conversation about women voting. All these men on the right who don't want women to vote, when 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕 is one of the biggest cultural influencers on social media, and she's a woman. You don't want her to vote? You should be grateful. You should be grateful. This woman here is doing all this great work. You don't want someone like her to vote? Here it is, folks. This is where it's all. We've followed the Twitter road to its beginning. It's centered around this tweet, I remember now. Jake Shields, who's been going viral a lot for a lot of edgy, a lot of spicy topics. He asks, would America be better off if women couldn't vote? He shares a little picture here, one of these 538, which is one of these polling websites. He shares some of these results of the 2018 midterms, and he shares if only men voted, for example. What if only men voted? Wonders 538, and they show you exactly what the country would look like. You would have 249 projected Republican districts. It would be very, very red. And I've shown you maps like this before, where if only men voted, if only white women voted, if only people of color voted. And really the only groups kind of holding back an all-blue country, Biden forever, Democrat regime for 100 years, is like white men. And white women, I believe, too. I think even if white women are college educated, they still are largely Republican. I forget, though. And so it seems like this has set off a conversation here that has some of what I thought were seemingly right-wing conservative women. They got them off. They got them going off online saying, hey, this guy should be grateful. Don't you see 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕 and libs of TikTok saving America? You don't see that? Female voting is a gift, a luxury, and a privilege given to women by beta males. Women have no right to vote and did not fight for it. Women are destroying America for 100 years straight. This is what women do with political power. This is another one getting attention. Manosphere guy here. Responding to vote all women and all that. It's funny to see this person change their name, and I don't know if it's a woman running this account, but in response going, vote all women. And it's funny to see the so-called pro-men and pro-America. We're conservatives. We're MAGA'd up. We see what the left is doing, and we're sick of it too. And groomers and let's all band together with an American flag and get these radicals out of our country, right? And then you disagree on one little thing, and this person is a radical feminist. Vote all women, they say. Vote all women. And what is this a response to? They're mad at men. This person's mad at some men online, and not even all men, just these men online. And they're mad at what? Because men are bringing up a conversation that is kind of worth bringing up. What are women doing with political power? You know what I mean? It's a fair question. What are women doing with political power? Federal debt held by the public from 1900 to 2050. You see, whoever shared this image did a little bit of editorializing here, scratching out a couple things here. We're going to ignore the editorializing here. Obviously, some right-wing bigot. But this graph shows the percentage of gross domestic product. And up against federal debt held by the public. And you see 1920, the 19th Amendment, boom, it just, maybe it was World War I. But it keeps going up. Whoever editorialized this is not funny. They say all these spikes in federal debt held by the public is women voting for the government to be the daddy and the husband. Look, I'm just saying it's a fine conversation. What are women doing with political power? And if you're this right-wing conservative, how is vote all women a fair response to anything? What happened to meritocracy? We're the right and we believe in meritocracy. So, mask off moments, you gotta love it. It keeps happening. Black Lives Matter, Israel, Ukraine, women, mask off moments. It doesn't matter if you call yourself conservative and all that. At the end of the day, I'm still a woman. And women, it's been tough on women for years. And the patriarchy, you're a feminist at the end of the day. Mad at these men, free men talking. I got another call here. Let me get to calls here. Troy, Los Angeles. Sir, how you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm doing great. I just was talking to the LAPD. They were asking me if this tent by my car was my tent.
Hey, you want me to come back to you? No problem.
No. I'm walking away right now.
That's kind of an amazing moment, though.
I know. They were like, "Is this your tent?" I was like, "No, I'm paying for parking. You guys do whatever you want with that tent."
Please.
I haven't seen them mess with the tent in ever. So I'm actually very happy about it. They're kicking the tent, seeing if anyone's in there.
Thank you, LAPD. You know, I personally...
I know, I'm like, I salute you.
I'd be happy walking out. You know, it depends on, a conversation on who's running things is fair. But I'd be happy walking out of my door, seeing a camoed person with an AR-15. And I just say, morning, sir.
At this point in my life, I would welcome like severe law and order, because I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm not, the only times I didn't like law and order or I didn't like the cops was when I was getting into something bad.
Right.
That's the truth. And I would always omit things. Every time a cop's giving me a hard time, it's like they ask for an ID, basic stuff. And I'm like, I need to show you that. Like, no, you do. You really do. But
nice.
Great show, man. Hope everything's well over there.
It's nice to hear from you, sir.
Awesome. Loving the stream. I wanted to talk about that woman you put on at the end, and not just that, but the chat and the woman talking about marriages and sex and all that.
Right.
I just have to say, and it becomes so ever more clear in all different things, but the sex thing is a perfect example, because men and women, they want to act like they're different on these things. And this is a call to all the men out there. Hey, because we know it starts with the man. Stop viewing any of these issues, whether it's fear, whether it's sex. Like, stop viewing them like a woman in a material sense. Sex is not a material thing that you need to worry about. Sex is a biological necessity. Just like your fear is only valid when it's a biological necessity. Someone's got a knife coming at you, you better be ready to defend yourself. But fear will get you revved up to defend yourself, right? You can't be viewing the world materially. You don't give your wife the things that she needs and, quote, play your cards right to get the sex that you need. How is you rubbing on your girl's shoulder, doing the mama thing every once in a while to keep her emotionally safe? How's that any different than her rubbing on you in a different way? I don't know, keep it PG, right?
No, I'm following.
Just because you want this stuff. It's like you're just viewing sex as a material thing that she gives you. So in that sense, if you're going to think in the woman's sphere of materialism, that everything's material, well, then you shouldn't complain when she wants you to, play the cards right or play the game she wants to be played. You're playing a woman's game.
Damn.
The world is not material. It's right and wrong, good and evil. We've talked about it, right? How about this? Sex is a biological necessity for us to create children, and we do that.
I thought that's how you meant that.
We have a duty to do that. Yeah, we have a duty to have sex and procreate within the union of a marriage. That's what we're called to do biologically, because God made us that way, right? And he gave us a structure of how to do it without causing hell for ourselves. That's why when you go around like Dan the Blizzard Man, you'll start turning into a woman. He's been in so many women, he's acting like a woman.
That is something.
He wants to
that is an
feel
interesting
loved
thing to say.
and cuddled. Like, like you're becoming a woman, man. It's not about collecting material things like a bunch of different women to please you in a different way. That's a female way of thinking. So he became a female, and he suffered like females suffer. You know, at the end of the day, we have, it's even our, and I'll finish this, it's even the way we view the voting thing. I could tie it into that too. Voting rights, voting rights, voting rights. You don't have a right to vote, okay? By the nature of, if you get locked up, they take away your right to vote. So it's not much of a right, is it? We have a duty to engage in the civic process, right? If we have that society set up that way. But if we look at it as a material thing, well, now it becomes this false thing. It's not real when we look at voting as a right. It's not a right. It's not a thing you get to have. It's a duty to be wielded, and it's not easy to wield that duty responsibly. No different than raising a family or procreating or any of it, protecting your physical body. So I think people need to stop viewing rights in the way that we're viewing them. Voting rights, it's not a right. It's just an idea. It's no different than the idea of a man saying he's a woman that we all reject as right-wing or Christian, right? With those identities. Not how that works. We have duties. We have a duty. Rights are just duties absent action, right? Or absent responsibility. You don't have a right to life. I have a duty not to kill you, because if I wanted to just kill you or turn you into my slave and I had the force to do it, no one would stop me. Where are your rights then? They don't exist. I have a duty as a fellow human made in the image of God to not harm you. It's a duty, not a right. When we view them as rights, again, we're falling into the materialistic trap of the devil, of feminine thinking, and we need to not do that. It's not going to lead to anything good. I mean, look around us. It hasn't led to anything good.
Interesting, sir. Thank you for that. Yeah.
That's my monologue for the day.
No, I like it.
For you, Nick.
Thank you for saving that one, sir. I appreciate that. I forgot. It totally left my mind what I was just about to say. I was listening to what you were saying.
I actually disconnected. I was I'm either in deep or or they disconnected.
What was the last thing you just said?
What, about duty?
Yeah. Don't worry. I just remembered. I think I was 27 when I learned that. I think I was 27 listening to the Hake Report. This is why this is good. This is why this is important. I was 27 when I learned that all my rights come with a responsibility. So thank you for that. Yeah.
That's another way to put it, that your rights are everyone else's responsibility. But even that framework I used to think of, it implies that rights exist, and they don't. Rights are just a thing we make up as a society together. But if at any point society wants to take your rights away, they can. So that's not much of a right. It's just not. So I would say I view it now as we have duties, a set of duties or obligations as men. And, with regards to female voting, they might say, give me my rights. And now you're stuck in this conversation in their paradigm, the devil's paradigm, really, of what kind of rights and why shouldn't. No, how about this? You don't want the duty to vote, okay? As men, we shouldn't even allow you to have to carry that burden, because voting to make sure that your life is good and everything is copacetic and set up nicely, that's not something that everyone should want. It's difficult. Duties are not something that everyone desires, and when you order society that way, as God intended, things seem to work properly. You know what I mean? They seem to work a lot better than they have been when we go, my rights, my rights, my rights. Because everyone wants rights. If rights are just a thing to get, everyone should get rights, right? And how can you argue that they shouldn't? But
no, we really are like kids. We're like petulant children. That's how.
It's the candy, like you're talking about.
Bingo.
You have a duty to stop your kid eating the candy. They don't have a right to pleasure, nonstop pleasure.
It seems like
go ahead.
No, nonstop pleasure.
No, I'm just saying, like, nonstop pleasure doesn't lead to anything good. But if you have a right to, I'll have a right to choose what I want to eat. That just sounds wrong. That sounds totally incorrect to me. I have a right to eat whatever I want and become 600 pounds. No, you really don't. You have a duty to not take up 4 airline seats. You have a duty to to preserve the body you were given. And you know how I know this? Your body will break down and you will die young if you exercise your quote unquote fake right to eat whatever you want and do whatever. It doesn't work like that.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You won't have order.
No, to that, I got to say right.
Yeah.
No, we really are like petulant children. And I'm talking about the average adult, right? Like in terms of civics, these are like these basic things that you may have heard maybe in school or something, and now they're almost like in a museum and maybe even gone in the public's mind. But this that you have a right, that these rights come with their responsibility and duties. No, it's just manja. No, give me something. Give me something.
And rights come out of the Enlightenment period. The Enlightenment period was right off the backs of, people say that John Locke is the father of Enlightenment, but the real father of Enlightenment or liberalism was, the first picketer, Martin Luther, going out there, complaining and whining like a woman about these things the church is doing. I don't like them. Well, you know what? Endure. Just like the man in the relationship, just like the child who doesn't want to eat their vegetables, maybe it's time to just show a little bit of growth and endure the difficult moment. Even if the church is completely doing everything wrong, your job is to endure and not blame a man, but have faith in your creator to know that it's going to be good.
Thank you for that. Interesting comment. Definitely something to smoke on. I find this interesting. You're bringing up Martin Luther. I don't know much about him. Are you counter-signaling Martin Luther, sir?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about. I don't know.
Liberalism,
I know.
I think liberalism is death.
I find this somewhat interesting. Can you?
Yeah, but I can go on forever. I don't want to dominate your show, Nick.
No problem,
we'll
Troy.
Chat soon, man.
Call me again on Martin Luther.
All right, man. We'll chat.
Thank you. I wanted to hear from the Catholics or a Catholic or I'm not trying to say anything about Troy, but I've heard about Martin Luther and I've heard good things. I've heard, they say he didn't like that the church was putting out, what did he call them? Remittances or something? Basically, if you had enough money, you could pay your sins away. You could just pay, if you had enough money, you could pay to have your sins forgiven. And Martin Luther was like, yeah, that's crazy or something like that. And so I just wanted to hear some inside Catholic baseball maybe. Like, what are the Catholics thinking about this? And Martin Luther, and maybe we could have got, maybe next time. Appreciate that, Troy. Call me again. Appreciate the good call. 888-775-3773. Liberalism, John Locke. Maybe we can get into that one of these days. The indulgences. That's what they were. Thank you, Tar Baby Yoda. Not remittances. Indulgences. Thank you. Yeah, but I just want to hear the skinny on that. Martin Luther, what's up with that? It sounded like Troy was saying, maybe you should have been more of an if man and had an internal thing. Fascinating. Last 10 minutes of the show. Kevin Howe's not a Luther fan. Kevin Howe's not a Luther fan. Amazing. Well, anyways, folks, look, last 5 minutes of the show. What shall we do here? buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Garrett with the triple coffee. Thank you for that. Trip Coffees from Garrett says, thanks for the correction, Linya and Chin. A little love between the super chatters here. Appreciate that. You can buy me a coffee. buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. That's all the super chats too, I think. Matthew, Linya and Chin. Thank you. If I have enough money, can a hot nun be my mama for a night? Yeah, Linya and Chin. This is the world. Yeah. You got the money for it. Trust me. We got some non-Luther fans. We got some Luther critics in the chat. I have no dog in the fight. I feel no ways about it. I find it just interesting. I feel like Catholic stories, how do I put this? I know I'm going to sound so ignorant. But I've had some experience going to Catholic school. But it seems almost like a mysterious world. There's like a wall. But I've been to some Catholic stuff recently. And it wasn't as there was a lot more space than I thought. You know, I thought it was this rigid, like, this guy's just reading something. But, you know, the priest, he was reading stuff, but then he was like riffing. He was like riffing and speaking openly about what he was reading about and what he thought. Anyways, whatever. Shout out to the Catholics. Day one. This is officially day one of asking Nick what his old chat name was. What do you mean my old chat name? My old chat name was Gorgonzola. I don't think I didn't have any other names in the chat. I was Gorgonzola before I changed it to American Anchor Baby. I think before I changed it to American Anchor Baby, I was Anchor Baby's new show. Anchor Baby's new show. But then after a while, my show wasn't new anymore. So that had to change. But yeah. Financial advice. This is from Carver here. A little financial advice from Carver. It is less expensive to get a non-nun to wear the nun costume. Look, if you're looking to save money, which is something that a lot of people are looking to do all the time, that is just sound advice. You'd be a fool not to take it, honestly. That is if you were someone who was looking to pay someone to be your nun-clad mommy for the night. But that's neither here nor there. We all disavow this, Carver. In fact, I will disavow this, and we all disavow this in perpetuity. That's the show, folks. That's American Anchor Baby. Enough. That's enough. Catch me tomorrow, Tuesday, more American Anchor Baby, noon. And of course, Country Western Tuesday, Hake Report and Joel. That's the show. I got nothing else for you. That's pretty much it. We did the super chats, the calls, and everything we could. And yeah, that's really it. Take care, y'all. I'm saying bye for real now. Peace.